somebody brings them there. And who is that? You see, we are phoned from prison. This guy phones me. He doesn't tell the name. He says, Cele, Ndos, he called me Ndos, phone from somewhere in Escort. There are 3 people that are ready to go and kill Nkosi at Ulundi. They are having 3 AKs. They are in this lodge. He called by name. I phone Mkhwanazi. I say, Mkhwanazi, there is this thing. This guy refuses to tell you. Mkhwanazi goes there, he finds exactly that. He finds exactly that. 3 AKs, 5 of these guys there, ready to go and kill Nkosi. There was an exchange of fire. Some of those guys died. He finds exactly that. This information comes from prison.
Okay. General, I'm sure you can give other examples. But you seem to confirm General Mkhwanazi's statement in that regard, that the correctional services is also infiltrated. And we know that from the now pretty notorious case of Thabo Bester, where you organize your own escape and you leave a body in your cell. But let's move on from there. Let's talk about the when you were appointed minister in 2018, and then the establishment of the interministerial committee.
Chairperson, there has been a problem in KZN of political violence en masse, but after elections, it was some sort of organized kind of. And then the people were dying, especially at the level of local leadership, politically, and also the councillors. I've listened to say that it was more of the ANC councillors. No, it's across the board. Quite several of the NFP, ANC, IFP, even EFF, DA, as we speak now, we're dealing with it. Those that are dealing with it, I left when they were dealing with it at Mbofana. The councillor that killed the family stood outside and banned the whole family and said his house has been banned. And I'm sure that guy didn't know that there's something called forensic. And the forensic discovered that he has done it, he has been sentenced and all that. It's happening. So, President visited the meta scene of Kashana Mkhunu, who was a councillor there in Maritzburg. And from there, he made a call. And then, when the elections came, and then there was a Minister of Police, and there was Minister of Justice, who's not Masuta now, but Lamula. There was a minister later, Mdise, and there was initially there was only a deputy minister when it comes to state security, which was Zizu Godwa, and later Ntshabeni came on board. So they continued with the interministerial because these ministries were there. So interministers is ministers that move, but ministries, they stay there, and whoever is there continues. That's how I understand.
So what was the mandate of the interministerial committee?
The mandate was to go to KZN, specifically, sort the political violence, the matters that were taking place there, which were quite bad. Almost every week, a political figure was dying there. So was to go there and sort that thing, investigate, arrest, prevent, and stabilize the province. So when we went there, there was a committee, or there was some sort of a team that was provincially working there, led by General Qiliza, and then there will be Brigadier Makashalala, who is here in Western Cape now. There would be Chiga, who was a head of intelligence in KZN. We sat there as this interministerial. We were given the report. We all agreed, without taking it further, that there is a zero work on this death that is happening here. So we had then, according to the interministerial, try to start something better. So different ministers had to work on their departments. I remember that there was a big meeting of officials that was called. I can't remember, but Dr. Kulube was in defense, were there. I think the DG of Justice were there. The DG, National Commission or Provincial Commission of Correctional Service were there. Those officials, they had to go and hash the plan and report to the interministerial. How are they going to do what the interministerial, under instruction of the president, had to do?
So it was a multidisciplinary team that was going to be established.
Indeed,
from different departments.
Exactly so, exactly so. But most prominently would have been the police and prosecutors, because prosecutors had to direct the investigations. But one department that is not mentioned now and again that played a prominent role was correctional service. Why correctional service? Because people arrested, they still gave direction from prisons who to eliminate and all that. The only cutoff was to take people to Kokstad, so which is a prison where you can't communicate with anybody. So the Minister of Correctional Service had to make the way and open that most of people that are arrested under this killing must be taken there. The other thing that was requested there, these cases were delaying, so was if we could get the special courts to deal with them so that they're gone through and then people are arrested and all that. So these departments were really working together, from the ministers to the top officials and down to the real team that was working down there. Can continue with their activities. So the minister had to deal with this, that those that are taken to Kokstad, they stay in Kokstad. Fourth one was that, third one, resolution was the success of the PKTT would be communicated in the media briefing to be held on behalf of the IMC. The media briefing eventually took place on the 6th, 2023. Obvious. Four, the final resolution was that the PKTT could not dissolve and that it must continue. That is the 5th September 2023 decision taken by the interministerial.
Okay. So, what is your response to Minister Mchunu saying that the PKTT was disestablished?
By who?
Already since 2022.
Disestablished by who?
Well, it's not quite clear what he's saying, who said so. I think We have asked him, I think honourable members of the committee asked him, and that it's an illegal structure.
The president instructs the ministries. The ministers go there. The ministers call their relevant top officials of the department to bring all components together. They come together. The team is formed. The team starts the work, and will agree. Maybe you are not going on details of the success and all that. It continues up to the end of the 5th administration. Comes the 6th administration, it continues. And these interministerials, as these ministers, the new under the ministries, they are there. And it goes for election 2024. This is there. I don't remember anywhere as the chair and those that we're working with talking about dismantling this team at all. What I would also remember is that, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, on the 7th of March 2024, the same team went to brief the president about the activities that they were doing in Fort Hare, since it was requested by the president to look at the matters of how it came about on that one. So this is now March 2024. We're going for election March May. So this team is still active. I don't remember anywhere as a person that was almost involved at all in the understanding of activities. I don't remember the team being disbanded until I saw the letter that was written on the 21st December.
The 31st of December.
31st of December, when we're drinking and dancing.
Now, your view is captured at paragraph 49 on page 18.
Paragraph 49.
Yeah, on page 18 of your statement.
Okay. Yes, it is there. That's how
you want to read that into the record?
In my view, PKTT was and therefore only the IMC. I submit that this argument is incorrect. The IMC consists of ministries that form the multidisciplinary team, not the political incumbents, the ministers, who may change with each administration. The IMC, therefore, continued to exist even under the 7th administration. The Minister of Police, therefore, had to consult with the IMC that had established the PKTT before deciding to disband it. Any disestablishment of PKTT would also have to be done in consultation with the departments that form part of the steering committee of the IMC that had oversight over the PKTT. I can add to say there is also a JCPS cluster. If maybe it's not very clear with the existence, JCPS cluster, which Minister of Justice and Minister of Police are co-chairs. It could have been discussed there. Maybe if really it doesn't, it could have been, the clearance could have been sought from the president that there is this, what do I do, does it exist or not? But you cannot just one swallow that makes summer here. Which is a minister of police that does not take on board the rest of everybody that is there to talk about this thing. I'm not going to make a conclusion whether it's illegal. I'm not a lawyer, but procedurally, I do not agree with it. The way that it has come through, it should have reversed the same way back. That will be my argument.
We're going to go now to the Minister's Directive of 31 December. But just to round off on whether or not the PKTT is still in existence, you recall having I'm not sure whether you call it a discussion or just out of interest, that you spoke recently with the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, and on her, as it were, job description, the PKTT was still one of the functions allocated to her as Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development.
Well, as you minister, you join, I think your officials will take you through. And it starts with maybe the handover from your predecessor. The time is short. It took me 2 hours with my successor. So there is a lot of things. But then you go to the officials of the department, and then they'll tell you the duties. It does, hearing from Minister Kubai, it still does come through as one of her jobs to be part of the IMC on this one. That would be my latest information.
Yeah. The directive of the 31st of December 2024, you'll find it next to your statement as Annexure BC4 on pages 49 to 50. Have you got it there, General?
Yeah, I have it. Thanks.
When did you first see or hear of or were told about this directive, and what was your reaction, your response?
Chairperson, there is a funny chain here. I don't know how I got in the group of Marshall. I'm in that group.
A WhatsApp group?
It's WhatsApp group.
You be careful of these WhatsApps.
I never write, but most of these things come from that Marshall thing.
Who's all on that group?
Marshall and his husband and her husband.
Yeah.
Morgan. So those are expensive, but there are other ones. I think it's Huela, and then there are people that they correspond with. There is hashtag Minister of Police. There is hashtag Adams, I think is a member of Parliament. There was a hashtag chair of Portfolio Committee. I don't know if he's still there, but he was also corresponding very closely with the Machel. So this Machel, so you get these things, but because I don't write, I don't say anything and all that, I don't think they are aware that I'm there and reading these things. Some of them are big about me personally, that how criminal I am. So, but I don't ask anybody. I sit and I look how criminal I am. So keep quiet. But Bashir, you know, we'll come to that later. That was written by Meriti Haas, writing National Commissioner on the 22nd of January, asking him, why have you not implemented the instruction of the minister? This is Diaz writing National Commissioner. And that letter, I think it was 12 hours that it was also on Machel. But Machel is quite big. So I received these things from Machel. I hope they won't disestablish me now out of...
Not immediately anyway.
Out of, because it provides a good information, what's the thinking about this hashtag minister, him, and they also pray and all this. Sometimes they speak a lot of Sotho, so then I will have a problem. But when they speak English and all that. So when I saw this letter, I said, but this can't be. This can't be. There are three elements there, which is the border issues, no much discussions. One can come on that if it needs to be. There is a crime intelligence. We should no discussions much about it. One can come on that, which can be. The real one that has taken the center stage is a PKTT. So when I looked at the letter, I said, but this can't be. The letter opens 3 political task hearings. The first word is in 2019, which is wrong. In 2019, that is wrong. A directive was made to the National Commission of Police following Morano Commission. That is wrong. There is no direction made to the national. The direction was made to the interministerial that then invited other people. And it was not after Morane. It was after the president has made an announcement in Maritzburg. Later it came to Parliament, but earlier has made that standing on a white hippo, saying these ministries must go there. So this Morane can't be correct. Then they say it's flowing from there. The interministerial task force be established, and it's not the force, it's the interministerial committee. The key mandate was correct: stop, investigate, resolve unresolved matters, which is a stabilization of the situation. That one is correct. My observation in this regard, which should not be the individual observation, it should be the observation of the committee, I guess. Is that further existence of this team is no longer required, nor is it adding any value of policing in South Africa. I therefore direct that the political task team be disestablished immediately. Further, that a preliminary report in this regard be submitted to the minister by the 20th. Observing it, if it were me, I would have said, give me the report on the 20th of this task team. And armed with the report, then I would know what decision I'm taking. But to dismantle and want the report, what is the report for now? Because the decision is taken. But it goes on to say, this is 20th of January. The final and closing report must be submitted to the Ministry Management Executive Committee meeting in January 2025, the date of which will be communicated as soon as possible. It does look like there is an issue with this January. Well, the letter is written few hours before January. Yes, it's December, but it's 5. We are just to come to January. The letter is written, and then give report 20th January. I don't know if the letter did come, the report, but 22nd of January, Mary Diaz writes the letter to the National Commissioner, and Moses, asking him,
Sorry.
have you done
General,
what...
sorry, Honourable Chair, can I just point out to honourable members that there is a small, sorry, there's a little bundle with 2 documents attached the Mary de Haas letter of 22 January 2025, page 1 to 2, and then there's an article on political killings, political interference, which is written by a Christine, but quotes extensively Professor de Haas. Have you got that, General? That's the letter you're referring to.
Yes, I do have that letter. I do have that letter. National Commission Self-Reference General Masimula email good. That is 22nd January 2025. The headline says, your failure to follow ministerial instruction and disband the political killing team is impacting negatively on the crucial policing work in KwaZulu-Natal. So that is a letter which I think paragraph 3 says, according to a report I have just received, I don't know you received this report from who, Mary Diaz, from concerned police or from concerned members, detectives in KZN cannot take exhibits to Pretoria laboratory because there are no funds to travel, the funds allegedly having been diverted to the political killing team, leaving crucial evidence, e.g. drugs, firearm, DNA, and cell phones in the province contaminated. 4, in other words, if these allegations are true, the Provincial Commission KZN is complicit in ignoring instructions given by the Minister and obstructing regular policing activities in KwaZulu-Natal. Please investigate and report to the Minister and Parliament immediately. Immediately.
So you were saying, you were somehow suggesting that there's a whole confluence, a whole getting together of factors in January 2025, immediately, shortly after the directive of 31 December 2025, which you found quite...
It does look like there was something about January.
Yeah.
I don't know what is it. But my take with all this process, Chairperson, it starts with Mary writing the letter on October. And I found some similarities of the content of the letter, because this immediately is also there in that letter.
That letter is on page 51 through to 58.
That is October. So then there is a discussion of a certain stain on his written opinion piece, if it is opinion piece. Very excited to say the minister or the professor has instructed the national commissioner to disband. And 31st January happens, 21st December happens. And January, Mary, who wrote in October, comes back now, not to the minister now, to the national commissioner. The report must come on the 20th. Mary is very close to understanding whether the report has come on the 20th. But 22nd, we are bad. She's asking if that has been done. So it's my take, my genesis of my problem with this is Mary having played quite a big role. I must admit, the Kwana's allegation at the later stage of cartels and all that, I don't understand that much until I hear from Kwanas and what is happening. But my take is that I've seen Mary driving this process of disestablishment of this. I don't know what is her interest. Maybe maybe it does link with the later one, I don't know. So people can check. But also, I find that January has something to do with the disestablishment. That's my take on this process, essay.
Yeah, but, we also see that in a subsequent letter, make those suggestions about is it here? In fact, we also, I think I've flagged it. Excuse me, Minister. It's the same, if you go to page 60, go to BC 7, General. Which is on page 65.
Page 65.
To 70.
Right, yes.
Yeah. Where she makes, if you go to the bottom, well, the document which appeared in the KZN Monitor, it starts off with reference to the 31 December 2024 Minister Mkunu's directive. And then she says, a few lines in, it seems though that the ministerial instructions are not being followed, as certain apparently specifically selected members have not been redeployed to the units from which they were seconded, and that at least one new case has been opened by one of these members. Information has been forwarded to the Minister's office. So it seems as if she's privy to information that's been forwarded to the Minister's office. Then
Yes, well,
in the last paragraph, she said there was no good reason for establishing this team in the first place. You see that? And then on page 66, the second paragraph, contrary to constitutional principles of transparency and accountability in government, questions about the structure and command of the team have never been answered. Would you agree with that statement?
which one is that, yes, sir?
Sorry,
Which
General?
statement is that?
At page 66, the second paragraph, the first few lines, where she says that questions about the structure and command of the team have never been answered.
Yes, I do.
And
see
then she refers to you. She says, when soon after it started operating, questions were posed to team members about who was in charge. The response was that it was then Minister Cele. When the Police Portfolio Committee was asked about it, the late Jumat Peterson claimed not to know about what was happening. However, she agreed that the minister should not be operational. Despite ongoing complaints, no interventions to remedy matters followed. When the team was initially established, a detective was in charge, but even at that stage, members were coming and going. When the detective retired, then Brigadier Kumalo was put in charge by Cele.
Well, I met Kumalo when the team was established,
2018.
2018. I didn't know him before that. He was a brigadier. Very few, I think Mkhonas was a brigadier, and among the brigadiers, I would know him and maybe those that were in communication. But brigadiers are quite far to know them all. So Khumalo, I didn't know him. That's the first one. The second one, SC. Ministers of police are just unlucky. They appoint nobody. They appoint nobody. Even the National Commissioner, they don't appoint them. The president does. And then the commissioners appoint the structure as per the constitution of command and control. So there is no minister. If I have any...
we discussed this, but in terms of the Police Act, the minister appoints the head of the Hawks.
Yeah, that's the only person,
But
according
no
to the
other
law.
appointments
is
you
the
say
only
are
person
made by
that
the
you
minister.
appoint, yes. So that the Hawks. But when it comes to the South African Police Service and all that, that is so Cele could not then have been appointed Khumalo. Even if Cele wanted to appoint Khumalo, had to explain to the rest of the ministers that were part of the interministerial. What is this? So the issue of Khumalo, knowing him, whether he's investigator, whether it's in crime situation or crime intelligence, really I wouldn't know. This is a researcher talking, so she can't just research that ministers don't appoint an accomplished researcher. She can't research that and know that ministers don't appoint when it comes to police. So the chairperson, there is even the issue of DTGs. I explained who Lieutenant Generals are. They are DTGs. In government, DTGs are appointed by cabinet. So DTGs, you motivate, you interview, and you submit to cabinet, and the cabinet agrees or disagrees, but not with the police. The commissioner announces in the morning that you are now Lieutenant Colonel, so you are Lieutenant General. And I think when I was a national commissioner and became the minister, I raised it to say I find it far-reaching that a single person can appoint a DTG. DTG is very senior. So if he's appointed by you alone, really he will save his job by respecting you and not doing his job. I think it's even unfair to the DTGs to be appointed in that simplest way and all that kind of thing. Maybe it is on that score that my predecessor, Mbalula, came with the regulations that commissioner can appoint at the level from Major General in concurrence with the ministers. So that came because there would be many generals around here that you don't know when they came about and all that. But this concurrence does not then stop the commissioner, which is his constitutional and legislative prerogative to continue and do it. So, Cele coming to appointing Khumalo when he can't even appoint Masimula, a researcher must know that, especially if it is an accomplished
She claims
researcher.
that you appointed Khumalo also as the head of SAP's crime intelligence in 2022. And she questions how he could be the head of intelligence, crime intelligence, and also the head of the task team.
As I've said, that maybe that could be answered by a person who appoints those people, which happens to be a national commissioner.
Okay. Now, what is also Because I suppose at this stage you can only suspect that Professor De Haas has some or other role to play in the ministerial directive of 31 December. But what is also quite interesting is that yesterday, when the Minister Mkhunu concluded his evidence, he made two recommendations to this honourable committee. One of them is that the three oversight bodies currently in place at as part of the overall security apparatus, IPID, IDEC, DPCI, that these bodies should all be merged.
What paragraph is there?
Yeah, I'm just paraphrasing, but you'll find it at page 52, which is in her letter of 31 October 2024. This is one of those letters which the minister says informed, amongst other things, not everything, there's a whole range of things, but this is one of the letters that informed his decision of 31 December. But here she says, if it were feasible, it would be to establish an ombuds oversight body headed by a retired judge of integrity and extensive experience in the field of criminal and policing matters. So that's the one, and then the other recommendation you'll find in her piece in the KZN Monitor on page 69 and 70, that where she says on page 69 at the bottom, the dismantlement of this task team has been long overdue, but the continuing irregular activities, ignoring a legitimate ministerial instruction, require sanctions to be brought against its leadership. The next step must also include a full audit of the expenses, including whether they are being met from provincial budgets or even from crime intelligence services, which Khumalo also heads. So that would you also find that interesting? There seems to be a correlation between what she contends, claims in her writings, and decisions taken by Minister Mkhunu.
But further reading there says Parliament, the Minister and the Auditor General
Yes.
must demand full financial accountability for all the money which has been
Yeah,
spent.
she demanded
on
that the
task team.
Auditor General do a full
I think
audit.
those were last recommendations made yesterday. They tally with what is coming from what Mary De Haas is saying.
Yeah. Did you speak to Minister Mkhunu about his directive of 31 December 2024?
Well, I had the comfort of handing over to Minister Mkhunu. I think we spent about 2 hours at Bheki Cele. As I left the office, I said, I'm a phone away. This could be a difficult environment, I must say. That environment is difficult and energy sapping to be Minister of Police.
Energy sapping.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's energy sapping. It's one of the most difficult jobs to be Minister of Police. So I said, you pick up and you talk. Well, that did not happen. I don't think I've ever received a call. until I see these things and I approach him somewhere in January in one of the meetings to say, I see these letters from Auntie Mary. Can we talk about it so that we see how they go? Because my main fear was a wrong genesis of the letter he has written. That the genesis of the letter was wrong. There is no morale here and all that kind of thing. There is no 2019. So maybe if the better information comes, and I don't think I was entertained. I was told that the process is going to continue and no stoppage. And I think the 13th in Kailisha, I went to the president. I said, Mr. President, can you pull us together with Minister Mkhunu, maybe yourself or just two of us, to take one through on the matters.
So that was on January 8th?
Yeah, but January 8th was
When
on
you
January
met with the
13th.
president?
It was on 13th, not 8th. And then there was no comfort in trying to have that communication. So, indeed, then we did not talk about the matter.
Okay, senior counsel, may we afford Honorable Malema a chance?
Chair, I was asking if someone has got a picture of Mary Dihase to put it there. Auntie Mary.
Mbangazita, do you want to respond?
Yes, Honorable Chairperson. I was actually saying that I've got her picture on my phone and I can volunteer to actually share it with him.
No, the indication I
Page
get is
59,
that
page 59.
the honorable member will assist the legal team to have the picture. After break, we will have it. Thank you so much.
It's not for me. I'm saying you must flight her there so the society can see this person. And Honorable Bredenbach says Google. She assumes every South African has got Google, access to Google and data.
No, we, SC,
May I continue? Sorry.
when we break, Mbangazita will help you to get that picture and before when we resume the proceedings after break, we will flight it there.
It is in the pack, Honorable Chair.
It's in the pack.
Page 59.
Yeah, but the statement which is being made is that this parliament is for the people of South Africa. It's not for us who are sitting here.
May I continue, Honorable Chair? Sorry, Minister. So you met with the minister that sometime in January also?
Yes, we're in the same meeting, but
And January the 8th, you also raised this with the president. Just tell us a bit more about your discussions with the president, or was it even a discussion?
no, absolutely not a discussion, because we're just, as I said, Mr. President, can you help? I need to speak to the minister about the political task team. If you could organize the meeting, the three of us or him and me, because I've tried, I failed. So that was the end. But I never discussed anything with the president on that matter. It was a request if the meeting could be facilitated.
Now clearly, when you heard or saw the directive you were not in favor, or put another way, you were opposed to the disestablishment of the task team?
Two main things that would have made me opposed to it. The procedures of it, how it came about, for me it had to reverse that way. That's the first one. The second one, Chair, the letter says there's no value and has achieved nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the letter per se, but it's in the contents of Mary that has achieved nothing. He even accused that it was not supposed to be there. He should have taken President to court for it not to be there. But that it has no veil and all, I would not agree. Chairperson, in that province, Pangasita would know. I'm not going to talk about him and me. But in that province, things do flare up now and again. The mandate of this team is to investigate, arrest those people, and create stability. So here they say its work either is done and all that. It's not done. There are cases there. One of the biggest cases that the team is dealing is Nongoma, where the manager, the finance CFO, and the supply chain, they are arrested. Their arrest, as Mary argues that they are not supposed to, their arrest comes from the matter of Councillor Mkhunu, a 75-year-old. I don't know what's wrong with Councillor Mkhunu because President announced on Councillor Mkhunu. So there's a 75-year-old Councillor Mkhunu that was killed at Nongoma of the NFP. And then when the investigation was done, it was found that the man was paid through the structures of municipality to Ingabi, to the hitman. That's why they are arrested. So that case is still under investigation. Those people are going to court. If you disband with immediate, what happens to those cases and all that kind of thing? And the further investigation. Secondly, this team must create stability. Chairperson, through you to this, half of eThekwini councillors are guarded. Those that come from eThekwini would know, are given protection because they fear to be killed. Mostly there would be ANC and IFP. They are still under guard. Municipality pays extra money, pays extra cars for them, pays extra SMT, pays overtime for those policemen. So this stability, for me, is not there. I don't know in other places, but councillors are still under guard. So which means, while a lot of work has been done, but the mission has not been accomplished, maybe, I must say so, because there is this argument that there is a time bound for this PKTT. I agree. But task teams and operations are based on two things: on timeline and the accomplishment of the mission. It's not because it's a timeline, so we say 6 months, and 5.5 down the line, people, they shoot each other, said, yeah guys, we said we stay 6, we are going. No. If the accomplishment of the mission comes early, yes, we can even go earlier. But if it doesn't, those